Alright, I think we're recording. This is the first Cannabis video. I'm just going to do very, very simple, basic Cannabis 101. Cannabis comes from the Cannabaceae family. It has essentially, it depends what camp you're in. The traditional camp, it has three subspecies. In the genetic camp, it has three subspecies. So I'm sure this will sort out eventually as there's enough research done and once enough mapping of genetics gets, or enough mapping of plant material is done. So the traditionals are Sativa, Indica, and Ruderalis. The genetics are Sativa, Indica, and Rasta. Rasta's a new genetic. There's a researcher in Australia, I believe, 2006. I'll attach this with an edit. Anyhow, they discovered three variety, and with that, they were essentially allowed to name it, and they named it Rasta. In North America, we basically have mainly Sativa and then hybrids that are Sativa Indica hybrids, and then Sativa consists of three variety: cannabis, which is essentially medicinal, nutritional, and recreational; Oilseed, which is essentially known as Oilseed hemp, and that is fuel, fiber, probably some other stuff from there we'll get. And actually, second harvest on oilseed, you can have fiber also. You can get cellulose, hurd, some of those other secondary products. And then last is fiber or industrial, and again, out of both oilseed and industrial, we can pull CBDA-based medicinal that can be decarboxylated into CBD-based oils. So, sorry, I can't watch this video. I can't see the screen, so I'm not even sure where I'm at on camera right now. Let's see, and then again, I think mentioned oilseed can have a second harvest as fiber, so that's an additional revenue source. Technically, the plants right now are getting harvested in some instances all the way down into the root, because the root has some there's some cannabinoids available there. There's some fibrous material available there. There's going to be some cellulose available there. So as the demand for cellulosic ethanol comes up before the 2020, 2022, whatever the time frame is, then that's going to command the growth of all these stocks as fuel stocks. I wanted to mention hemp share, hemp cool, tetrabar, cannabinetics I mentioned, and can of gas. Those are all our sponsors. Thank you. So basically what we're looking at with oilseed and industrial, essentially it's considered to be genetics that are from the Sativa strain. So I think we'll end up seeing Indica oilseed, Indica fiber, and we'll end up seeing Rasta oilseed, Rasta fiber. And if there's Ruderalis and if there's Afghanica, we're going to see all these things coming out as people grow, and hybrid, depending on what their area of the country is, depending on the soil conditions they have. All these things are going to be factors in which genetics do well in their areas. In North America, again, I think I mentioned it's basically Sativa and Indica, and then Sativa Indica hybrids. There's a little bit of Afghani probably, and some of the Rasta would be creeping up out of the Caribbean. But until we have a genetic equivalent of the Rasta mapped, we're not going to know to where to benchmark or what's what in the strain base. So again, as I say, we assume it's sativa genetics until we know whether it's indica or it's Rasta or it's Ruderalis, whichever way you're going to go, traditional or genetic. And essentially, I guess, once we go to genetic, it's going to all be genetic. So I'm guessing that the potent, the indica and Afghani are probably, Afghani is essentially, I think, maybe a Rasta equivalent of indica, and Rasta is the Afghani equivalent from sativa. So each of those, as they flow down into the warmer climates, I think they've taken on and they've adapted their genetics, and whether, let's call it nature's breeding, right? So, and then you have the North American growers, the European growers, ultimately growers all around the world who have the feral varieties where they have cultivated. I mean, I know people who've cultivated for 30 plus years and have varieties of seed. So there are there's plenty of information out there in the seed banks for us to just open it up and roll with it and to start producing stuff. It's being stymied essentially by the controls over the essentially initial growing via license, and or trying to get tax in place, a license in place in order to protect that side of it. And that's the barrier. That's what's stymieing everything. And where we free that up is that the cannabis plant does not produce THC. It produces an acidic precursor called THCA, and THCA must be heated to 174 degrees Fahrenheit before it becomes THC, or before it becomes psychoactive. So what we need to do is repeal prohibition, remove that barrier, allow the free cultivation anywhere and everywhere of the plant, and then prohibit via prescription that minors cannot decarboxylate the THCA into THC. The minors cannot decarboxylate the THCA into THC without a prescription from a doctor. And at that point right there, then the parents can grow in their own garden if they choose to, or they can have a caregiver grow for them, or they can buy from a dispensary. But no matter what, they cannot get their child high without a prescription from a doctor. They can then use the THCA-based raw product, juice it, it's infant safe without any psychosis. So at that point right there, that's the solution. Prescription for minors to decarboxylate, repeal prohibition. Thank you. Have a great day. And I'll try and do another one of these soon.